What's up guys, Houndish here, and today we're jumping in with some brand new Destiny 2 Shadowkeep information with new gameplay and stuff to talk about. So pretty exciting stuff. Bungie have just posted some developer insights for the return to the moon. So of course we get a whole bunch of information about the moon. We get to see some new locations. Bungie talk about some of the activities, some of their kind of design objectives, but of course we see Guardians with some new gear, work in progress cinematics for the DLC, and a bunch of other stuff. So guys, we're going to break it down in this video. If you enjoy it, a rating really helps me out, but otherwise let's jump straight into it. Okay, so normally if this was a trailer, we'd kind of run the trailer first, but with it being a little bit of a longer video, let's talk about some of the stuff we see. So we see some really shiny, nice new cinematics for the moon right here. We do get a better look at a bunch of different locations. We can see the developers working on some of the stuff. And they talk about how the moon is really a passion project for Bungie. Of course, a very popular location in D1. But right here we get some new gameplay and stuff that we haven't quite seen before. We can see some kind of fallen areas, more of the structures inside of the fortress. And then here's something very curious, potentially could be a new exotic launcher right here, or it could be the new ornament for the Twin-tailed fox. Bear in mind there is a new one coming with the Shadowkeep DLC. But equally interesting in this image, we see a bunch of floating figures above the Hellmouth. Now, we spoke about this image right here the other day, but you don't really explain what this is, but very, very creepy stuff. And they go on to talk about the Hive Castle that they've developed on the surface of the moon. Pretty fantastic looking space, and on this developer's monitor, we see some figures kind of floating in a circle here, almost like some kind of ritual going on. Moon is totally haunted, man. It's positively creepy, but something they show us here is pretty cool in the form of the fallen ketch that once was suspended over the moon, and that was where we had the Tanic strike. Now it's kind of crashed and collapsed into the surface of the moon and is a new fallen base here. So there is a fallen presence on the moon, and the developers say that they're using this new space to kind of survive. Of course, that should be a pretty interesting story element. They talk about lost sectors. Of course, we can expect to see these in the new location. They say there are a few different ones on the moon, but one of them will actually allow us to go into one of the broken buildings that we couldn't enter on the moon before. Very close to where you would enter the Temple of Crota, and we get to see how it's been updated for D2. Probably a fallen lost sector, considering it's covered in those fallen icons. Now here we see some Guardians, potentially some new armor here, I'm not certain. The Titan up front is holding a new exotic machine gun. This is the one showed off at GuardianCon, so we get a better look at it in game. The Hunter has a new hand cannon. I believe this is the loud lullaby hand cannon that Eris is holding in the trailer. They go on to talk about how they have remastered the moon. All of the textures have been updated, new lighting, new effects, and that is of course just for the old areas. They show how the Shrine of Oryx has developed in this time as well. And once again here, at the shrine, we see those very creepy figures floating in the air. And here we can see how the moon is much more saturated in Shadowkeep. There are a bunch of different kind of transition shots from how they looked in D1, and then how they're going to look in D2. Now, they do mention Eris' return, and they say she is kind of the catalyst for what is going on the moon. She's very much woken up the beast, and we can see that there are going to be some new cinematics for Shadowkeep, so this is a work in progress cinematic, I believe from early on in the game. Show off some of the kind of storyboarding and ideas for that, and they say that Eris has discovered something under the surface of the moon. We can actually see some of that for the DLC cinematic. And they say that otherwise for the story, we'll learn a lot about the history of humanity on the moon. Of course, back in D1, we knew that in the Golden Age, we had kind of colonized the moon, but in Shadowkeep, there will be an opportunity to learn more about what actually happened, some of the events on the moon, and even the great disaster for humanity. So that's going to be really, really cool. Also, Jotun Sparrow confirmed, my friends. Who knows, maybe it even comes with tracking. Here we see even more absolutely awesome kind of scenes on the moon. I think it looks really amazing. I think it'll be one of the coolest locations in D2 by the looks of it. Once again, we spot the Hunter rocking that dope hand cannon, and we even see 3 Guardians at the end standing at what appears to be the top of the fortress, and you can actually look out across the surface of the moon. So yeah, amazing stuff, man. Bungie also do show off a nice kind of animation right here for the digital deluxe edition of the game. So if you get that version or higher, you do get the exclusive Eris Morn themed items. So that'll be an exotic ghost, an emblem, and an exotic emote. We don't know what that'll look like in the game, but yeah, also kind of cool is we have a new render of Eris Morn in the background with the updated graphics and everything for Shadowkeep. Do bear in mind that Bungie have said they'll be revealing more information about Shadowkeep over the next few weeks. In a couple of weeks, we have Solstice of Heroes in-game, but outside of that, we got a couple of months where we can expect Bungie to talk about quite a lot of different stuff, and that also includes, account migration, cross-save stuff, how new Light is going to work, and who knows, maybe they'll have a bit of a presence at Gamescom, which is happening next month. Either way, I'll definitely keep you posted, but for today, yeah, it's cool to get a little bit more information about what we can expect to see on the moon in Destiny 2 Shadowkeep. Even more of a look at the Scarlet Fortress, some of the gear and everything like that. If you want to check out the full Vidoc, I will run it right now, so you can stay tuned for that, and I will also link Bungie's video for it down below. But let us know your thoughts. Are you excited for Shadowkeep and the return to the moon? But if you've enjoyed the video, a rating really helps me out, guys. If you're new around here, hit subscribe, turn on notifications, and I'll keep you posted on everything related to D2 and the upcoming DLC. Otherwise, thank you for tuning in, and I hope you have an awesome day.
There's something about the moon. It fascinates us, it haunts us, and now it's calling us back. And going back to the moon started as a bit of a passion project. We want to see, can we take this destination and really stand it up alongside all the rest of the destinations we've made in Destiny 2?
So how can we bring back the moon with a twist? Make every player realize that it's the moon, but with something new on it.
Shadowkeep, the moon is entirely changed. It's completely remastered. There have been a bunch of different changes, both large and small, for players to kind of experience on their own and find.
We have about double the amount of space. There's more than twice as many places you can go.
You've been here before, but it's not the same.
Main thing that drove us was the idea of what if there was a hive castle right on the surface. We were trying to go for something that felt really imposing and really threatening. It's very spiky and red, which just kind of makes it feel more aggressive.
This is the Fallen Ketch from Destiny 1, and it's actually kind of resting on the surface of the moon, and the Fallen are basically making a new base using pieces of the Ketch. They're basically just trying to survive. There's a bunch of new lost sectors in the destination. This is one of the spaces in Destiny 1. You couldn't really go inside of it, but in Destiny 2, we kind of let you get deeper into these structures on the moon. It's meant to feel like you don't really know what you're going to find. You're not really sure how to traverse this land. On the art side, it's got a completely rebuilt skybox. Every space has top to bottom new lighting. This is actually the first space that we relit. In D1, the lighting is a little bit more clean cut. We went with a lot more saturated colors in some spaces, but in D2 we were trying to give this feeling of desaturation and general spookiness. We wanted it to feel a little bit more mysterious. We wanted it to feel a little bit of that, what's in the shadows.
Well, we're definitely respecting a lot of the secrets that started in D1, and we're exposing those and digging into them a lot more.
We open up the game with a cinematic, taking us back into the moon with a character that knows the moon better than anybody else. Eris is, in a way, the catalyst. She's the one that woke up the beast. Imagine that we're gonna have like a layer of that, dust and a little bit more of that rockiness on there, so when she does reach out to it, it'll wake up.
Reacts to it when she touches it.
Exactly. We actually just caught that moment for the first time with a lighting test.
Eris discovered something under the surface of the moon, a hidden darkness.
There's so much we don't know about the moon. I think a lot of this release is about mystery.
One of the things we really liked about the moon in Destiny 1 was that it brought in this element of spacefaring and the height of humanity, right? The height of where we landed as humans before the collapse. So there's a lot of stories that we're telling about the history of humanity here. The people that built the accelerator, the people that built all these structures on the moon, like what happened to them, where did they go?
We have a liftoff on Apollo 11. One small step for man.
Landing on the moon in real life was a gargantuan achievement for humankind. We're coming up on the anniversary of that accomplishment. We want to pay respect and kind of like homage to that moment in human history.